it's a totally different sense of when you just go in the gym and you don't have to your diet can be and like if you're blasting gear and you're going up by 10 pounds every time you do an exercise.
You can do everything wrong when you're on cycle, especially in the beginning. Like in school, when I was going to high school, there was like 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that, grabbed the whole hand into the Dianabol jar that they got from Thailand, and they would just take a handful and go to the gym.
Yeah.
All those guys are nowhere to be found in the fitness industry.
So back to this question though, with the locks on the, and all the keys and this sort of thing, because this is super important. This is the main question, Should I do this? Should I not do this? And I think before you start doing it, you have to realize that each of these locks opens up a Pandora's box. Maybe one other way to look at it. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're in that 30%, you might develop a dependence. I'll never forget one of my earliest shows. There was a guy who won the show. He looked amazing. He could have easily gone on and maybe even gotten a pro card. And this was this was in like 2003, I think. And I remember I was sitting like right next to him in the athletes meeting. This is before the show even. And he just destroyed everybody. And he said, all I want to do is be done with this and try and see if I can rectify all of my failed relationships, all the stuff that I fucked up in the last 3 or 4 months.
Oh, yeah.
He was because he realized this, I never saw him again. And I know that I did see him a couple of years later. He was hypogonadal and struggling with how to come out of that. And this is before, people knew what we kind of know today. But so you're opening up all those things. And the thing that I would encourage people to do is to think about before you open those is to think, so what do I have to fall back on? And I know you trained for many, 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 many years before you decided to become a Sith Lord. Yeah, right?
Yeah. 10 years, drug-free.
Right.
I didn't go anywhere, but I was also a full-time business consultant. So this is just like an afterthought, like a crazy hobby that I love to do research, love to train. Right. But I was trying to make a career in financial business consulting. And then just like what is happening now, we had a little bit of an economic crisis and there were no jobs. So then I decided to get my hands dirty, but I was already 26. So that's like grandpa level compared to the kids, what they're doing nowadays. I mean, I see kids in my comment section, 17 years old, 18 years old on testosterone and trenbolone and stuff. It's crazy.
And your brain is not fully formed. The prefrontal cortex, it's like roughly 25.
Right.
And I would suggest people pick up Robert Sapolsky. The people who I'm suggesting this to are not going to be the ones who are going to read
They're not going to read it. No. Whatever.
Yeah.
Debol only cycles. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah. Right. Fortunately. But the basic idea is that, you don't know what you don't know. And I'm trying to tell you that you don't know to some degree what you'll know 10 years later, by the time you're 25 or when you're 26, like, okay, I've been at this for 10 years. I've been training. I know that I can fall back and you still train. It's not like you're just like hanging out on the couch and whatever. I'm sure you still go to the gym.
I mean, I've been off cycle for 7 months. I still go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. Of course, I love it. I mean, training is the foundation. The rest comes afterwards, right? First you learn how to train, then you learn how to diet, and then you learn how to supplement, and then maybe some performance enhancing drugs later on under guidance. But I'll be the first one to admit it. At 26, I researched for already 5-6 years, right? Because I wanted to know what I was getting myself into. And now looking back, I knew fuck all back then. And I'm sure when I'm 50, I'll say the same thing. I knew fuck all when I was close to 40, which is where I am now, right?
Yeah.
So I think with every decade that you pass, especially now since I'm a full-time, YouTuber and talking about these things multiple times per week, the older you get, the more you dive into it, the more you learn. And then, of course, with 10 years of more scientific literature, we'll know more. And like in the beginning, you see that certain practices we do are proven with scientific evidence, and then later on it's disproven again.
Yeah.
So everything keeps evolving, but that's why it is so interesting. But I mean, really understanding what you're getting yourself into, I think it takes a decade to learn that.
At least to have an inkling of whether you should start sticking one of those locks, one of those keys, one of those locks.
Well, we can take endocrinologists as an example. I mean, they have a 4-year, a 6-year, university, and then residency, internships, and then they get their medical license. So it's almost a decade before they're even allowed to talk about testosterone replacement therapy or insulin or some of the other endocrine hormones to patients. It takes a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how long did you wait, Scott?
My first tested show was I'd been training for 19 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's good. That's okay.
No, I mean,
that's.
I just love to train, like all that stuff. To be honest, to some degree, the drug stuff is not all that interesting. It's not because
of course, but that's what gets the views.
It is.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think I should probably try to come up with a thought experiment. I'm kind of thinking of one now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's the thing that, especially if you're starting before the age of 25, let's say you're only been training for a few years. When you're doing that, you're almost doing a deal with the devil in that you're increasing your likelihood of changing your brain.
Right.
You're increasing the likelihood that, when I've seen this so many times, and I am over 50, right? So I can, I mean, whatever that.
Oh, you've been around. You've been
around for a little while, As people who they don't want to train anymore. They're not, when they get to where you are, and of course you're entrenched in this, so that helps a lot. You've basically got kind of supporting environment. Like if you just stop training, like then your business would go to hell. It doesn't fit. Your whole life is sort of oriented, situated around training and bodybuilding, and mine always has been. I mean, I don't go to the gym. I go in my barn and train in the heat in Florida, Southern Florida, with no air conditioner.
Oh man,
I want to.
That's what I do. Yeah, I do the same thing here. We in Muscle Factory, we don't have air conditioning. I go there 4 times a week, and 1 time a week I go to an air conditioned gym. Dude, I've been doing this for decades, just in the heat, and whether it's the middle of the day, and you still get it done. But we love it. This is how we got introduced. But I think a lot of people nowadays, they get introduced to fitness through social media, and they go for the look. Not for the camaraderie and the the subculture and the networking, and of course the training hard and setting goals and attaining them, just to training hard, and then figuring out what the ideal training strategy is, and whether it's dark crab training or fortitude training or mountain dog training, right? All these things you can explore, and you take the best parts out of all of it, which works with your body. Especially when you get older, fortitude training does start to make a lot more sense. So you don't, hammer your joints so much. And then, of course, the audience would say, no, Steve, just more nandrolone. More nandrolone, you'll be okay. Right. Yeah. At one point, you realize that, wait a minute, I can't run even nandrolone anymore. So I do have to do some fortitude training. And these things are very, very interesting. But I found that, at least most of my audience, they just want to know about drugs. And then they go to Mike Israetel for the Renaissance periodization, and then they try to combine both.
Yeah,
that's
leave as many reps in reserve as you can. Right? That's a joke. Just kidding.
Yeah, people will go nuts.
But when you do go to kind of the dark side, I mean, I don't. Has there ever been like a Sith Lord that then became a Jedi and went back? I don't know that they do. Like that's.
Many. Many. I've helped through consultations.
No, I mean like in the Star Wars trilogy. Like I'm just developing kind of analogy here. Yeah.
I'd have to ask Neatus of the Star Wars Theory, who was also part of the group, of the TRT group. And he's the expert, the resident expert on Star Wars. So Neatus, if you're watching, just let us know down below if a Sith Lord went back to the Jedi, whether that's in the canon material or the non-canon material. I'm sure Neatus will watch this video because he's also a fan of yours. So.
But I think there are certainly people who've gone back to TRT after having been there's many.
No, but off also. Yeah, I've talked to many.
Or off, right. So, but I think a large number of people just lose their love for the sport altogether. They lose it. They lose everything.
Oh, that's very true. We can take Sean Ray as an example.
Yeah, but see, I think he does love the sport. He doesn't like to train, right?
He doesn't train anymore.
And he was tremendously gifted. I mean, he looked the way he did at 21. I think he was the youngest person to win a pro card at that time. He was just crazy. True. But I think for some people, the large majority of people sort of in the central area of the bell curve with average genetics, who are being kind of disillusioned by what's capable, what's possible for them based on social media, what have you, is that you have to, and it's kind of an unknown risk, but in large part, there's a giant risk that you're going to lose the possibility just because of maybe changing your brain chemistry, changing like what you get out of training. Like it's a totally different sense of when you just go in the gym and you don't have to, your diet can be shit. And like if you're blasting gear and you're going up by 10 pounds every time you do an exercise. another time.
You can do everything wrong when you're on cycle, especially in the beginning, because you'll make those gains anyway if you do it right without the gear. But I mean, like in school, when I was going to high school, there were like 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that, grabbed the whole hand into the Dianabol jar that they got from Thailand, right? The Dianabol blue hearts, the pink ones, So they got the 1,000, the parents got the 1,000 tablet box of 5 milligrams, and they would just take a handful and go to the gym.
Yeah.
All those guys are nowhere to be found in the fitness industry.
They're gone.
But also when I hear about, when you have class and people like 10 years, 20 years later, they kind of, what is it called?
Class reunion.
Reunion, right. So they go to a reunion. I don't go because I'm in Thailand, but I heard through people that I'm still in touch with. They go to the reunion and these people have completely given up, but they're also not successful in anything that they do because I don't think they have the drive to really, because their dopaminergic system is still kind of messed up, even decades later.